Today's video has been brought to you by our friends at Olight. Well guys, today we're going to be taking a little break from the cabin remodel project to work on the food plots around here. It's getting about that time of year. I'm kind of almost in the window of opportunity to plant the seeds that I want to plant in these plots this year. So that's what we're going to try to get done today. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to burn this and maybe even a couple other food plots off. So I have here a few of the essentials. I've got the tractor first, of course, so I can take the harrow and go around it and make a fire break. I've got a hoe, a heavy rake, and a shovel in case things get out of hand. And if things really get out of hand, I've got this right here. This is 4 gallons of water, and you can actually do a lot with 4 gallons of water with a small fire like this one. Also, we've got the drip torch and drone equipment, because you can't have a fire without a bird's eye view, right? And this is the stuff that we're going to be burning off here. This is a small, maybe about 1/3 of an acre plot, and it was just full of grass basically, and I terminated this with Roundup about 2 weeks or so ago, and it is beyond ready to be burned off, disked up, and replanted. And there's really a couple of ways that I could get this plot ready to plant. I could take the mower and I could come out here and mow, or I could just burn it off. Mowing is really the best option for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's going to burn off all of this junk right here and get me down to almost bare dirt. Probably not totally bare dirt, but pretty close to bare dirt. And as this stuff burns, that ash is going to go into the soil after I disc it up, and it's going to add nutrients into the soil as well. So this is really a win-win. It's a lot easier on fuel because I don't have to mow off this plot, and it adds nutrients to the soil. And this is a really good day to do this because we got a little bit of rain yesterday, not very much, so everything else is still just a little bit damp. This field is a little bit damp as well, but I do think it'll burn. So we picked a good day to do this. I called this morning and got my burn permit, so we're all set. So let's get on the tractor, make a fire break, and we'll get it done. That's one pass, and it's okay in spots, but I'm going to make another pass because fires are notorious for jumping breaks over stuff like this. There's the main field right there. It could climb onto this grass right here, go right over onto this stuff right here, and it has a tendency to find a path, and I don't want it over there. At this point, I'm ready to go ahead and get this field lit, and this is what I'm going to use to light it. This is called a drip torch. This is a mixture of gasoline and diesel fuel, roughly at the rate of 3/4 diesel and 1/4 gasoline. And basically what I'm going to do here is get just a little bit of fuel, or actually a lot. You kind of need to soak that end there. Soak that end down really good. Get it lit like that, and at this point it'll just drip fire onto the grass. It's acting like it's a little too moist to burn. Let's pour some more fire on it. Well guys, this is not working at all the way I had it planned. Unfortunately, the grass is just too wet right now for it to burn, so I think what I'll do is go ahead and make fire breaks around the other two fields really quick. The sun is starting to come out, so I'm hoping maybe it'll dry out a little bit, and maybe in an hour or two it'll be able to burn. This one goes forwards, but if you go forwards, you're gonna run into the woods right there. You might want to go backwards.
How do I make it go backwards?
Pull that joystick towards you. There it goes. Good. All right, yeah, there you go. Good job. All right, y'all, so it has been about 2 hours or so now since the first attempt at this, and the sun has been shining pretty good, and this feels a little drier. So let's give it another shot here, and if this doesn't do it, I guess we're just gonna till it in. Man, what a difference a couple of hours makes. Y'all can see that right there. That's kind of an ideal situation. You've got two sides of the fire meeting closer to the middle. You're trying to get black on the edges so the fire can't go any farther that way. See it meeting right there? That's what you want. And then it's over. Well, that's it for this one. That was 15-20 minutes worth of a fire. Pretty small plot, but that should improve things. This little patch right here was too thin to burn, and some of it was still green, so it just didn't. But yeah, most of it's burned, and that's good. Let's go do another one. All right guys, so here is the next field, and I'm thinking this fire is going to be a little more violent than the last. There is probably twice as much stuff out here than there was at the other one, and it feels pretty dry, so let's get to it. Whew, that was fast and really hot, and I want to show y'all over here how fires jump breaks. So this is not where I started this fire. I started it over there to the left, and I really didn't do any plowing here basically because this spot over here is dirty enough. It'll be fine. But this is kind of how fires jump breaks. I didn't really intend for it to go this far. You see there's just a small amount, of dead grass, and it's just going, it's just kind of creeping over. It won't go far, but that's how fires jump brakes. So of course I had the drone filming through all of that, and I looked at the time of the length of the video that the drone took, and it was 5 minutes and 41 seconds. So I'm estimating it was probably 8 or 9 minutes to burn this off right here. It was a hot fire, and it was very, very fast, but it's looking great, and hopefully tomorrow morning I'll come on out here, get it disked up, and put some seeds in. I mentioned before on the channel that whenever I do any kind of disking with the tractor, I like to take this whole setup off, because it just drives me nuts to go across the field and see this thing just jar up and down. I feel like I'm really doing some wear and tear on it. While I'm finishing this up, I wanted to mention something that came up in the last video, and I appreciate y'all's feedback on this. Apparently there were some audio issues on the last video with earbud users. So it seemed like a lot of times in the video the audio was cutting out on one side of the earbuds if you're using earbuds, and it was much harder to tell if you were just using like a phone or a computer with open speakers. But I went back and did a bunch of investigating and trying to figure out and track down the problem. And I think I tracked it back down to the microphone. At this point I've got a different microphone on the camera, and I have done some testing on it, and it seems to be working pretty good. So the first part of this video up until basically the last few clips here, you might have some issues, but I'm hoping that from here forward you're not going to have any issues. And by the way, thank you for pointing that out. Nothing drives me crazier than having bad audio on a video. So thanks for y'all's feedback on that, and I hope that y'all have a better viewing experience going forward. Before we get started on the plots, I want to see if I can get this fuel leak fixed right here. I've got a fuel leak on this bleeder screw. If you remember a while back, I replaced these filters, and there's lots of connections here, and these washers were ruined, and there's just a leak right here. And I have a really cool little flashlight from our friends at Olight that's going to help us with this project. Not with the tractor, there's plenty of light out there. We're going to use the light to find the gasket material in the black hole of my pickup truck. Let's see, ice cream sandwich wrapper, something from church, almond joy, coffee cup, safety glasses, side grinder. I think it fell up under the seat somewhere, but I really have no idea. Y'all think I'm doing this for advertising, but honestly I don't know where this gasket maker is. Here it is. I borrowed this from my dad, and he put it in my truck for me. He's more organized than I am, so I really didn't expect it to be in a plastic bag like this in plain sight. All right, here it is with a new gasket on it. Let's see if that stops our leak. Originally it had a washer on it, so I'm not certain that a little gasket like this is going to stop this kind of a leak, because there seems to be a lot of pressure behind it, but we'll try it. Big shout out to our friends at Olight for sending this light out. This is the Olight i3T EOS flashlight, and I have found this to be a very handy light. It fits very well down in my pocket. You can also, it comes with a clip, so you could also clip it onto the inside of your pocket if you prefer that route. Runs off of one single AAA battery, has 2 settings. The highest setting is 180 lumens, and it's great for finding junk up under your seats that you might lose. If that's not quite enough for you, there is the Seeker series of flashlights from Olight. These are more of camping, adventurer type lights, hiker type lights, and these put out a tremendous amount of power. The Seeker 3 puts out 4,200 lumens, and it's adjustable up to that amount. Seeker 4 puts out 4,600 lumens. Let me show you this interesting switch that they put on these things. So there's a battery indicator right here and a brightness indicator, but the switch itself is kind of interesting because you have to actually turn it 180 degrees before it will turn on. And at first I thought that was kind of a goofy feature, kind of complicated, but then I thought, you know, if you're a camper or a hiker and this is down in your bag and it gets clicked on something, then you're going to lose all your battery power, right? And you might be out to lunch for your trip. So I thought that was kind of a cool thing. Rechargeable, which is super, super nice. The 4 comes with a nice holster. You can also put this on your belt. Also use it to recharge the flashlight. Super, super handy there. If you want to use these in a work situation, the Olight Seeker 3 will actually magnetize on the back and hang just like that, and the 4 will actually hang just like that. So these lights can be handy for all kinds of different things, and if you go to Olight's website and make a purchase, the channel does get a kickback off of that. So thank y'all for checking out Olight, and thanks a big time to Olight for sending me these lights. These have been some really super cool lights. Well guys, we are getting there. So this is 1313 fertilizers. I'm going to put 100 pounds on each of those plots. Those are not particularly large plots. After the fertilizer's down, we'll disc it in real good, and then we'll get the seeds out, and then we're going to Jeep to pack it. I don't have a cultipacker, but I have a Jeep to packer, so we're going to use that. All right, I think that y'all pretty well get the point of that. So I just spread the fertilizer out there, then I took the other tractor and mixed it in a little bit. And now what we're gonna do is put the seeds out. And this is the mix that we're gonna be using. This is called Deadly Dozen from Real World Wildlife Products, and I have had good success with this stuff in the past. I actually harvested my biggest deer ever over one of these plots of Deadly Dozen. This has got radishes, turnips, rape, beets, collards, different type of collards, crimson clover, radish, another kind of radish, wheat, Austrian winter peas, forage oats, Calypso winter barley, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, basically the design of this stuff, my understanding at least, is it's got different things in it, and those different things come to be palpable for the deer at different times of the year, so it's kind of like a constant source of food. There's brassicas in this, big leafy type greens, there's clover in this, there's wheat and peas, and the deer just really seem to enjoy this stuff. Here's what it looks like here. This is a handful of it. You see your pea seeds in there, oats, wheat, all of that stuff, and it's kind of interesting the mix that it is, because it's got very large seeds in it, and then it's got, whoops, I dropped them. I hope y'all saw those. It's got very tiny seeds as well. The tiny seeds are probably clovers and brassicas and stuff like that, and of course these larger ones. So let's go ahead and get this in and get it Jeep-to-packed. Unfortunately, my big bag slinger is broken, so I'm gonna have to use this dinky little thing. This is pretty cool. I managed to find a shed out there. Don't find sheds that often. Would you like a shed? There you go. Now at this point I would want to take a cultipacker. Across this field. A cultipacker is basically a large weighted wheel, kind of, and basically what it does is it presses down the dirt, it pushes the seeds down into the dirt, it firms up the dirt, gets the air out of the soil, that kind of thing. But I don't have a cultipacker, but what I do have is an old Jeep, and these tires will actually do the same thing, just takes a little longer. Well, it's not the smoothest food plot ever, but I do think those tires did a pretty good job getting those seeds to contact the dirt just a little bit better, pushing some of them into the ground and firming up the seed bed here. You can see there's a good example right there. I think that's wheat right there. It's pushed down into the ground, kind of. That's oat, I believe, and it's pushed down into the ground too. There's another one, another wheat seed. It was up under the ground, so that's pretty much just exactly the results I was going for. And it's like I said, it's not the smoothest thing ever, but it's pretty good. Some spots where I missed, get a little bit of dirt on that, but overall I think that did a fair job. We'll just kind of see what happens. Well, guys, I think that's pretty well going to do it for this one. I've got one more plot to finish up, and then I'm going to be done for the day, but I think y'all pretty well get the picture. It's going to be the same thing. I'll just spread those seeds out at the recommended rate and probably use the Jeep to push them in. I considered using the tractor and very lightly disking those in just to kind of see if there was a difference in growth between this plot and that other plot. I got kind of skittish about using the harrow because last time I did the clover plot with the discs and ended up getting the seeds way too deep, and that plot just did not come up like it should have. So I'm a little bit skittish about using the discs, the harrow, whatever you call them. I think it depends on where you are in the country, but I'm a little bit skittish about using that now. I just don't want to get the seeds too deep. Also don't want to remix the fertilizer in too deep either. I don't know, I might just use the Jeep. We'll see what happens. I'll probably get some comments about this. Why in the world are you doing this for the deer? This is, surely this is an expensive endeavor and you could probably buy meat a whole lot cheaper. Well, yes, I definitely could buy meat a whole lot cheaper, and sometimes I do wonder if it's worth it, because this is a lot a lot of work, and the fertilizer is pricey, of course, but yeah, it's a tremendous amount of effort to do this. And sometimes I think about it and I wonder, you know, should I even be going to this effort? But here's the thing, when it's about a 40-degree morning or evening in November-ish, and I'm sitting over a plot of just nice looking brassicas and wheat and peas and clover and all of the stuff that grows out here, and the deer start coming out and the wind's blowing through the trees and the birds are chirping. There's just nothing quite like that. It's very, very satisfying to watch something grow. I've got a couple of friends that come out here and hunt with me, and they get a lot of joy out of just hanging out and sitting in the deer stands and providing food for their families. So it ends up being worth it for a lot of other reasons. Financially, no, it's kind of dumb, but emotionally, I guess you could say spiritually, there's lots of reasons that it's worth it to put in these plots and spend time in the great outdoors. So that's my reasoning about putting in these food plots that seem incredibly impractical, and kind of are, but they're practical in other ways. Well, that's going to do it for this one, and I swear there was something else. Oh, Olight. Don't forget to check out the links. They'll be in the description and probably in the comment section as well. Super, super handy little lights, these, and of course, they've got tons of different lights. They've got spotlights and tactical lights. They've got all kinds of keychain lights, just about anything you can imagine. Olight's pretty well got it. So check out Olight. Big shout out again to Olight for the support of the channel, and check them out again. And I think that's all I've got. I will go do the next plot and pray for rain, because that's all I can do at this point. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Haven't used this thing in quite a while.